Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, let us see about how to use the node selectors. So here we will assign the pod to a particular node using the node name so that that particular pod will be assigned only to that particular node, and then we will be using the labels so that based on the labels the pod will be assigned to the respective nodes, and then we will see how to use this in the deployment. Okay, so for an example I'll be taking this manifest file. So here in this manifest file we will be specifying the node name Kate's worker1, so that when this pod is created, it will be assigned or scheduled in the worker one node. Okay, vim node name dot YAML. Okay, so let me use this. Okay, so here we specify node name, which is Kate's worker1, so that this pod will be created in the worker node 1. Okay, kubectl get node. I have worker node 1 and 2. Okay, let me check the pods. Okay, so I have these pods in worker node 1. There are 3 pods. So let me create. So before that, let me take any one pod which recently created. So let me take this one, kubectl describe pod. Okay, so under the events, if you see kubelet responsible for pulling the image and creating the container, and scheduler responsible for assigning that pod to the worker node. Okay, either it will be 1 or 2 or whatever the number of worker nodes we have. But now I'm going to create the pod using this YAML file kubectl create node name pod. Okay, kubectl get pod -o. This is to output in the void format. Okay, so the pod name is Nginx, and this is the pod, just 18 second, the age, and it is created in the worker node 1. So now let me use the kubectl describe pod nginx. Okay, so now here we don't see the scheduler because we are not using the API. So this pod, as since we mentioned the node name, it will be directly created in the particular node that we mentioned. So there is no role here for the scheduler. Okay, so next let's create the another pod using this. Okay, so here we use the name which is node selector pod, and in the spec, as you can see, the node selector, we are using the disk type SSD. Okay, so let me clear the screen. kubectl get node. Okay, so the disk type SSD is set to only on the worker node 2. So when I create the pod, it should be created on the worker node 2. Okay, let me create this pod. Okay, node selector pod dot YAML. So I'm going to paste this. So here we use the node selector and the label this type equal SSD. Okay, let me save this. kubectl get pod. Okay, so on worker node 2 currently there are few pods, Nginx pod 2 and the last 3. Okay, so now I'm going to create this new pod, kubectl create. Okay, node selector. Okay, now if I run get pod -o. Okay, so the node selector pod, it is running on worker node 2 because only the worker node 2 has the label that is we specified, which is disk type equal SSD. Okay, now kubectl describe pod. Okay, so here we can see that scheduler assigned to worker node 2 based on the label. Okay, so next how we can use the deployment. So for that example, we can take this manifest file. So here the kind is deployment, and here we are going to use the disk type as a NVMe, and here this is the node selector spec, and this is the image. So it has to match with this node selector and disk type here, and under here it has to be the same label. Okay, so now I'm going to assign the label NVMe kubectl get node. show labels. So worker node 2, it has disk type SSD already. So let me assign the NVMe to worker node 1. Okay, kubectl label node K8 worker 1 and disk type equal NVMe. Okay, now for worker node 1, I can see disk type NVMe. So let me clear the screen. kubectl get pod -o void. Okay, so here we can see Nginx pod 3 and these three running on the worker node 1. So now I'm going to create this deployment and I'll put the replicas 3. Let me copy this. Okay, node selector deployment.yaml. Okay, so this is the template section, and here in this spec we use this selector to match the label disk type NVMe, and this is the replicas. So it's going to be 3 replicas. Okay, kubectl create ifnf. Okay, so the deployment is created. Now if I run kubectl get pod -o void, so here you can see this container creating, it is going to the worker node 1 because we have set the label disk type NVMe only for the worker node 1. Okay, so Redis deploy. This deployment is in running state. Okay, so that's it in this video, and I'll see you in the next.